Despite everything, I believe people are really good at heart. This is an ironic statement that Anne Frank wrote in her diary while she was living during the Holocaust, hiding from the Nazis. During World War II, under the power of Adolf Hitler, the Jewish people were getting persecuted and sent to concentration camps as they were blamed for the economic downfall of Germany. Anne Frank hid in a secret annex with 7 other people above her father's business for the duration of a little over 2 years. To pass the days away, Anne Frank would write about her experiences in a diary that she received until she was found by the Gestapo that would later send her to a concentration camp, along with the others. Unfortunately, Anne would not survive the war. Anne is a remarkable historical figure, and this is supported by 3 main points. 1, she lived the unimaginable. 2, she achieved her dream. And 3, she is a reminder of genocide. To begin my tribute to Anne Frank, I would like to start my first main point, and that is that Anne lived the unimaginable. According to a 2009 article from History.com, the group lived in constant fear of being discovered and could never go outside while living in the secret annex. The annex was a small, hidden area behind a movable bookshelf. In this area, there was 8 people that lived there that included Anne, her immediate family of her sister Margot and her mom and dad, and 4 friends of her parents that were also Jewish. They lived in cramped corners, had to be quiet during the day, and they only had the supplies that were smuggled into them from a few private, trusted outside sources. They knew if they were found in the secret annex, life conditions would get a lot worse and their chances of survival would decline. To continue with the 2009 article of History.com, on August 4th, 1944, after 25 months of hiding, Anne Frank and the 7 others in the secret annex were discovered by the Gestapo, or the German state police, who had learned about their hiding place from an anonymous tipster. Anne's family was separated, and Anne and her sister Margot were sent to a concentration camp called Auschwitz. They would later be transported to Bergen-Belsen. At the camps, the Jews experienced inhumane living conditions such as gas chamber starvation, disease, and forced labor. Anne did not survive the war as she died from typhus and her body was placed into a mass grave. To review my first main point, Anne lived the unimaginable as she experienced the brutal conditions of the Holocaust. To continue with my second main point, it is that Anne achieved her dream. According to the official Anne Frank website in 2010, it states that Anne wrote in her diary that she wanted to become a writer and journalist, and she wanted to have her diary published as a novel. Prior to Anne Frank going into hiding, she received a diary for her birthday. After going into hiding, she had heard on the radio from the Minister of Education to keep a war diary so people after the war would learn what others experienced. In her diary, she wrote about the events of the annex, her feelings about herself, along with creating short stories and writing out quotes that she found that she liked. After Anne and the others were sent to concentration camps with being found by the Gestapo, Miep Geis, who was one of the trusted outside sources, was able to collect Anne's diary and save it for her father, Otto Frank. After the war, Otto Frank had the diary published. Anne Frank's book was published in America in 1952, and it was titled The Diary of a Young Girl. The book went on to sell tens of millions of copies worldwide, according to History.com in 2009. The book was translated into multiple languages, and it was used for many school curriculums for the middle and high school level. Her book has been adapted into a movie and a play. Her book is well known worldwide. To complete my second point, Anne was able to achieve her dream and have her diary published as though she would never live to see it. Last of all, my third and final point regarding Anne Frank is that she is a reminder of genocide. According to the official Anne Frank website in 2010, Otto Frank, who is Anne's father, often concludes his letters with this statement: "I hope Anne's book will have an effect on the rest of your life so that insofar as it is possible in your own circumstances, you will work for unity and peace." After Anne Frank's book was published, Otto Frank responded to as many letters as he could with these statements, as he wanted to let everyone know that they are responsible with keeping world peace so this genocide would never occur again. Everyone had to do their part. Anne's diary expresses what it was like to live during the Holocaust and the fears she had experienced. Anne's book is a reminder to try and live in a world of peace and to prevent any other Holocaust or genocide from occurring in the future. Written by the U.S. Memorial Holocaust Museum in 2014, Anne Frank has become a symbol for the lost promise of the children who died in the Holocaust. The Holocaust is responsible for 6 million lives, with many of those being children. Anne Frank was one of those that did not make the war. Many of these deaths were those of innocent lives, and Anne's diary will represent that as a reminder of the Holocaust. To conclude my third main point, Anne is a reminder of genocide and to prevent it for the future generations to come. In conclusion, Anne Frank's story is one that no one would ever like to experience as she lived through the Holocaust. She hid in a secret annex in cramped corners in fear for her life. She would spend the long, lonely days writing in a diary before she was sent to a concentration camp. Anne was not able to survive the Holocaust, but her story will continue to live on as for her legacy as her diary was published. And through all she endured, she was able to be the optimistic Anne that she was, in believing that people have a really good heart. Anne Frank is a remarkable historical figure as 1, she lived the unimaginable, 2, she achieved her dream, and 3, she's a reminder of genocide.